I call the Planning Commission meeting for September 29th to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jackie, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Varga?
Here.
Mr. Crocker?
Here.
Mr. Haddon?
Here.
Mr. Perkovich?
Here.
Ms. Small?
Here.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting September 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Crocker?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Ms. Small?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. We have no public hearings tonight. We'll move right into old business. I'll entertain a motion to remove a minor subdivision of Bolton Estate at Johnny Cake Ridge Road off the table.
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Crocker?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Ms. Small?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Is that applicant here? Please come up, give us your name and address, and
Thank you. My name is Chris Sponseller. I live at 464 Southam in Berea, Ohio.
tell us a little bit.
Sure. As you may recall, in August, we presented a minor subdivision application. The boundaries to be established for property to be conveyed by my client, generally the Bolton family, to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy in furtherance of the agreed judgment entry between the city and my client. The boundaries of that parcel have now been revised, as you see in front of you on this map, so that we have 4 areas, 2 of which are in Menor. One is referred to as Parcel A, and a driveway parcel, which now equals exactly 56.0000 acres, and an entirety of 91.0016 acres being conveyed to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, the balance of that being in the village of Kirtland Hills. And what the minor subdivision application in front of you is to establish is the boundaries of this parcel in furtherance of that conveyance to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy.
Thank you. Mr. Zeman, does this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, as Mr. Sponseller indicated, the area has now been amended to be the compliant 56 acres within the city of Menor. You're in receipt of the staff report where the administration has taken a look at where the survey lines are. We find that it is compliant with the terms of the settlement agreement. With that, the city is withdrawing its prior objections, and in furtherance of our obligations under the settlement agreement, we join in the applicant in asking the Planning Commission to approve this subdivision as amended. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Kathy, anything?
Nothing further.
Anything from the commission members? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Jackie, please call the roll.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Crocker?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Ms. Small?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Thanks. New business, we have a building addition site alteration at 9515 Diamond Center Drive. Is that applicant here? Please come up, give us your name and address. Tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
Hello, my name is William Thompson. I live at 2710 Northland Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, 44221. What we are looking to do here is, there is a storage container that is along the side of the building that the fire department would like us to move because that is a fire zone area. And we are proposing to move it to right across into 2 parking spaces, which we would go ahead, the city had asked us if we'd build a fence around it to match the exterior of the building, which of course we are willing to do that. So we're looking to shift this storage container over maybe about 20 feet into 2 spaces along the island right there that's showing.
Is that all?
That's all, sir.
Thank you. Kathy, anything from the administration?
Mr. Chairman, we took a little bit closer look at this. I think if you've taken a look at the staff report and based on the Menor design guidelines for commercial and industrial corridors, we don't feel that the current metal storage container is reflective of the buildings that are on site and within the corridor. While we don't have an objection to there being an accessory structure on the property for needs of storage, I think we would prefer to see just a new accessory structure built that had materials and color consistent with the building on site, and again, buildings in the area. So we're just recommending that the storage container be removed altogether and a new proposal be submitted that can be reviewed administratively as long as it conforms to zoning. That, and again, also, the other issue with the current container is it obstructs the parking aisle by 2 feet. And then if you put a fence around it, it's going to obstruct it even more. So there's obvious concerns with that as well.
Thank you. Anything from the commission members? Mr.
Chairman,
Varga.
I have a question. What are you using this for?
This is strictly for dry storage. We put to-go containers, number 10 cans, extra, like, let's say we put on that new patio to store the patio furniture over the winter, things of that nature that we just do not have the storage inside the facility to cover those items.
I looked at this and the thought that came to mind, and I'll just throw this out, I'm not saying this is what you have to do, but it kind of conforms to the suggestion that the city has, is that, and I've eaten there, but I don't remember right now what's in this space, but on the immediate north side of this building, next to the driveway, and there's a sidewalk on the east side, and there's a sidewalk on the north of this, appears to be a grassy area.
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason why you couldn't build a storage structure right there that would conform with the appearance of the building? And not, I mean, this temporary trailer kind of thing is, I mean, if you were just going to keep it there for 2-3 months or something, that's one thing, but as a permanent structure, I'm not in favor of putting anything like that out there. But could you see the area I'm talking about? There's a green grassy area right here that looks like it's more than enough area to match the volume of that, and that would be much more convenient for your staff to use, and it could look like the building. Is there any reason why you couldn't do something there?
I do not have that answer. I would have to say, to be honest with you, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing that out. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
and
this
I
is
can
what you could
appreciate
do,
that.
but that seems to be, that would be a more useful location. Also, you'd come out of the building, it'd be right there, you know, rather than crossing the parking lot to some other location and fiddling with a
I would
metal
have to
door,
say that's
you
a
know?
good idea, sir.
All right, well, that was my comments.
Thank you. Is there anything else from the commission members?
I have a question.
Mr. Crocker?
For the administration. Was this ever approved for this use, this container, originally? I mean, how did this come about from the beginning? Where did this container come from? Would they just put it on site without us knowing, or?
It wasn't part, let's just put it this way,
Okay.
it wasn't part of the plan when it came before you for the conditional use. Now, the conditional use was specific to the design and also for the patio, but it wasn't on those plans. It showed up after, and I don't know if it was exactly, if it was when the when the restaurant opened or just prior to, but we discovered it and like it was previously noted and in the packet, its current location is closer to the building and within that drive aisle, so.
Okay, thank you.
I'm on board with Mr. Varga, too. I'm not on board, I'm not in favor of Conex box sitting out there either. I'd like to see more of a permanent structure that matches. The building looks great.
Oh,
I think you did a great job.
Thank you so
And I
much,
think that in a secondary building outside would be an addition to the site, so.
Okay. I can appreciate that.
Is there anything else from the commission members?
Mr. Chairman,
Varga.
let me make, could I, with the acceptance of the rest of the commission, could we table this for a new proposal?
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay? And, you know, as we put together the new proposal, of course, we're going to have a building plan and everything in place. Are we going to be able to utilize that structure until the new building gets built? Now, we're also moving into winter. Okay, that's going to be a little bit of an issue, a little bit of drag on things. We seem to do pretty well with the patio through winter. We kind of move through it. So if, as long as you guys don't oppose the fact that we can at least utilize that storage, especially if we're gonna do more construction, we're gonna need that additional storage for the new construction as well, until we get the new structure up then.
Based on tabling it, I'm thinking your new proposal could incorporate a temporary allowance for this container at some location that's not in conflict with the driving lanes and the fire lanes? I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just saying, if we table this,
Mr.
we'll
Zeman?
look at a new proposal.
What's on the table in front of the commission, obviously, is a storage container, and a request to put it in the parking lot, which is what the site development plan currently, has in terms of a use. Put a tall fence around it, as Ms. Mitchell indicated. The administration has some concerns about, its location, its suitability as a permanent improvement, its location, how it impacts visibility for drivers utilizing this site. I would encourage the commission not to sort of negotiate a solution. I think it's incumbent on the property owner or the applicant to say, here's what we're looking for. Right now, what they're asking for is a storage container in the parking lot. I don't want to speak for the building department, but typically if there is actual construction activity permitted, temporary on-site, staging areas and things of that nature, may be issued as part of the building permit, and I assume planning department has some say in that as well. But I think you're kind of way out in front of any proposal that you don't even know what it might be at this point to say, fine, temporarily this will suffice. I'd encourage the commission to act on what's in front of you relative to whether or not this storage container may remain on site.
Okay, go ahead. Somebody was going to...
Is there anybody else?
Well, I just had one other question for the city. Is there an open construction permit on this property?
I know occupancy hasn't been issued for the property. I don't believe there's an open building permit. It's open.
Well, let's just vote on that. Let's just vote on this.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with two conditions.
Second?
Jackie, please call the roll.
Mr. Varga?
No.
Mr. Crocker?
No.
Mr. Haddon?
No.
Mr. Perkovich?
No.
Ms. Small?
No.
Mr. Tiedemann?
No.
Mr. Cook?
No. We'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you. We'll get that stuff processed right away.
Thanks. See if Joe had it. Joe, do we need to do reasons of denial?
If the commission's prepared, I think that would help with the record. Yes.
Okay.
My vote is based on this type of storage structure not being permanent and not being permitted as a long-term solution.
I agree with my colleague. My vote is based on it not being a permanent solution to their problem.
I'll concur with my other two colleagues and say the same thing.
Yeah, that's okay. I need Mr. Haddon, Mr. Perkovich.
Yes, I as well voted it down based on temporary structure trying to become a permanent structure. I think they do need to come back with a more permanent solution.
Mr. Tiedemann?
I voted it down because I believe it's a safety issue, and it's a temporary storage box that should not be used for permanent storage.
Mr. Cook?
I concur with all. It's just a temporary, it's a storage box, and I'd like to see more of a permanent structure.
Good.
Ms. Small hasn't commented.
I agree with all my colleagues. It's also not compliant with the site development plan per the city.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 3, the 2023 meeting schedule. Everybody has it in front of them. Thought we'd have a little open discussion. There's always that time frame at the end of the year where we have Thanksgiving and we have the Christmas holiday, where if we went right down the calendar and just did every third Thursday, every year, or every fourth year, we have to move Thanksgiving, and every, whatever, seventh year, we have to move Christmas. So I'd like to see a little bit more leeway here at the end of during the holiday season. And Kathy, did you have anything to?
I don't have any information at this time. I know we discussed it, and what was indicated was what's in the code is that you have to have a meeting every 3 weeks, and you can have one meeting in December. So I guess however you want to handle it from here is up to the commission.
Okay. Mr. Zeman, do you have any?
Yes, as Ms. Mitchell indicated, that the current law is you have to meet every 3 weeks. I think the desire, from public discussions, when this is periodically reviewed, is a meeting once a month, maybe a too long of a time period. And as the commission members see, very, very often, applicants are under time constraints, for their projects to come to fruition. So, if, however, it's something that needs to be worked around relative to the holiday season. It's within the commission's prerogative to propose a code amendment to the city council, coming up with some alternate idea relative to how to schedule around November, December, to sort of still perhaps accomplish having meetings without too many weeks in between them. And still, accommodating the fact that it is a period of time during the year when many people are off work or on vacation.
And if we don't do a code amendment, can we always just alter the schedule as we get close to it?
Well, there is some ability to cancel a meeting and call a special meeting. I certainly would not encourage you to turn that into a backdoor way to circumvent what is now a code requirement to meet every 3 weeks. There may be circumstances where, you're due to, as you indicated, Mr. Chairman, due to the way the holidays may fall in coming years, it may be absolutely necessary to cancel a meeting due to a holiday conflict and then reschedule it, around that holiday date. Again, whether that means every 3 weeks, except for a meeting shall be held this week, and this week, in month of December and December. That it's not complicated necessarily to draft, and whether it accomplishes the city's policy relative to how frequently this body meets. That's not my decision, obviously. But again, that's currently how it's structured.
Thank you. Is there any thoughts from the commission members?
I just have a question. We've changed the schedule in the past a couple times. I just remember.
We have.
And how was that process?
We just did it.
We just did it. Okay. Well, that works for me.
But it wasn't a special meeting that we had. So
Yeah, we didn't have a special meeting. We just changed the date.
that's where I think a little flexibility at the end of the year would make sense.
I do have a question.
Yeah, Mrs. Small.
November 30th, is that the 5th Thursday in November or the 4th Thursday in November?
I don't know, I'd have to look at the calendar, I don't know.
I didn't want to pull out my phone. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
It's just every 3 weeks.
It's the 5th.
Yeah, but I'm saying whether or not it's Thanksgiving Day is my question.
Oh,
No.
no, it would be earlier, I think.
Yeah, I don't think the 30th falls on it.
Thanksgiving's on the 23rd.
It's the week before.
week
So this
before.
is the 5th Thursday in,
Yeah.
okay.
Chairman? Again, part of the scheduling aspect as well is if, say, you only had a meeting the first week of December, the way code's currently structured, then you're not meeting until near the end of January. So that's a pretty long gap. So if you're looking at trying to be substantially compliant with that 3 weeks, that's where you start getting into a really, really significant gap. Now, the code does say that the commission shall only meet once in December, but it's not specific as to when that date is. It would just naturally fall with the 30th of November, then you're probably, whatever that is, the 21st in December. And then you've got a fairly, approximately a month or so into the next meeting in January, so.
Because if we bump the 30th to the 7th and eliminated the 21st, you're looking at 6 weeks.
Correct. And that's where it starts to get pretty strained relative to code compliance. And I think that's an objective statement, I would hope, on my part.
Anything else? What do we need to do here, Mr. Zeman? Just,
It seems like you're a year away from this actually being a bit of a headache. Now granted, applicants need to know well in advance what their application deadlines are, what our meeting schedule is, but so you've still got, I think, objectively a pretty big chunk of time to consider. If the commission does want to make a recommendation to council to either afford the commission some discretion to schedule as the quote-unquote holiday calendar will allow in December and in November and December, maybe that's a solution, or simply picking more specific alternate, weeks in those months to avoid any of those holiday conflicts. Or maybe there's a third solution that I can't think of off the top of my head.
I like the discretion idea, because the calendar's going to change every year. How it's going to overlap every year. So I'd like to just have there be some discretion in the code regarding the holiday season.
Well, if the commission desires that my office draft some proposal, again, I just need direction from the commission to do that, and I'll try to get something in front of you for your next meeting, if the commission desires that. But I need some guidance and.
Do we need to vote on it?
You don't need to vote on it, but I would like some guidance just so it's clear what my office is being asked to do, and so and that also helps obviously to make sure the product is in accordance with what the commission would like to review at its next meeting, if anything.
I think what the chairman has stated is all the direction you need. I mean, I don't have any other direction. Does anyone else?
So is it the desire of the commission then to basically maybe modify the current code to shall meet every 3 weeks, and I'm not really sure I'm not even trying to craft anything off the top of my head, but then in November and December to allow some type of flexibility to be determined by the commission, obviously, well ahead of time.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. But, well, let me take it one step further. If that means that there might be 2 meetings in December, is that acceptable to the commission members? And you don't have to make a decision tonight. I'm just sort of looking for a little, maybe nonverbal feedback. Because that might be something that would happen naturally.
I mean, to review whatever comes out. I mean, the schedule that's there, I don't have a problem with it. It's already on my calendar.
It's already in the phone.
It's already in the phone, so whatever. I'll go along with what our chairman wants to do.
Mr. Chairman, if I just may indicate, for purposes of productivity and efficiency with producing staff reports and getting everything out on time, that's all we're looking for is some flexibility, and taking into consideration holiday time is when everyone takes their time off. Everyone saves their vacation time for the end of the year. So we become very lean on staff. So in order for us to do as good of a job and and give you the best product that we can, that's where we need some flexibility. So we're not looking to get out or skirt or hurt the businesses in any way, shape, or form from having their time in front of you. It's really about making sure that we're still producing the best information that you can review as well. So that's what I'm hoping that is taken into consideration when any possible revisions are made. That's the only reason.
And if we had an issue, some sort of submittal that was time sensitive, we could always have a special meeting.
Sure.
Good. And we were up against a timeline or something. Is there anything else? Nope. Clear as mud?
Yes.
Okay. Kathy, anything from administration?
Nothing else.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.